First up, though, this landmark settlement with social media giant Meta. That is the company behind Facebook and Instagram. A $17 billion payout, at least $400 million of that coming to North Carolina. But this lawsuit is about much more than just money, because it spells big changes for these apps and how they are used. Changes that you and your kids will notice. It will change a lot of things. It will change basically how your kids use these platforms and when. Things like Instagram and Facebook, specifically for teenagers ages 13 to 17. So let's get into it and talk about the details. First change, time limits. A default 2-hour time limit on Facebook and Instagram. After that 2 hours, no more scrolling for the rest of the day. Then there's night mode. From midnight to 6 a.m., their feeds will be blocked. No more doom scrolling in bed when you should be sleeping. Then there's school mode. Most notifications will be muted from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. If they get likes or comments or shares or anything like that, they're not going to see them until after school, until after 3 p.m. Usage reminders. Your kids are going to get an alert after 15 minutes of constant use on either one of those platforms. If they sit there and they scroll and it's 15 minutes, the app is going to tell them that. It's going to remind them. They'll also get an alert at the 60-minute mark and the 90-minute mark. And no more chasing likes. Kids just aren't going to see them. If they post something, they won't see how many people like the post or the story or the reel that they published. Last, there's this age assurance part, and they're still working on the details of this one, because you're probably thinking the same thing everybody else is. What is going to stop a 15-year-old, they're savvy, from getting on there and just saying, hey, I'm 18, putting in the wrong birth date? Well, Meta says it is strengthening technology designed to identify a teenager's account, even when they use an adult's birthday. Most of these protections are going to kick in automatically over the next few months or so. And parents can then control and figure out what they want to do. They can loosen those limits if they want. This is a big deal. This is a nationwide thing. This isn't just North Carolina. WRAL's Alex Littlehales covered this case for us, and we asked him how we got here. So, Alex, huge changes we're seeing here, but I am curious, why settle? Why not take this to trial?
Yeah, that's a good question. And we actually asked that exact question to North Carolina's Attorney General, Jeff Jackson. Why settle? Why not take this matter to court along with the other attorneys general? And what he said was that basically they're getting more out of settling. I know that sounds strange, but maybe in a trial, if you take this to court, states get a little bit more financial compensation, right? We talked about the hundreds of millions of dollars coming back to North Carolina, but what they don't get from a trial are these social media protections that you just talked about, right? That's the big inflection point for this whole story, is that immediately within the next couple of months, we're going to start seeing parental changes and protections on apps like Instagram and Facebook. You had a list of them just a couple moments ago. One big change, too, is this idea that parents can now regulate the algorithms for their teen students, right? They can actually customize what exactly the feed is going to look like if they have a kid in high school.
Give me an example as to when a parent might want to change that algorithm.
Yeah, sure. So think things in the realm of makeup products, beauty products, fitness influencing, right? This space of kids maybe trying to feel better about themselves, right? If you look up something on the internet, we know, because we have social media, that topic is going to be flooded in your algorithm, in your feed, right? These new changes will allow a parent to essentially control whether those algorithms will be custom to that teen's feed. So it's essentially saying we don't want our kids being influenced by things that they look up on the internet. We can set that algorithm. We can set that feed to be something that's not completely customized and personalized to that specific kid.
A lot of power back to the parents. Okay, Alex, thank you. Now, look, Meta, they're not the only social media company out there, and they are actually calling on their competitors now, like YouTube and TikTok and Snap, to make similar changes. Attorney General Jeff Jackson probably looking for the same, because the lawsuit that he's a part of right now, and the state is a part of, against ByteDance, that's the owner of TikTok, is still ongoing. This settlement just so happened to come down the same week that we are doing our in-depth series on back to school. And we spoke to a group of Wake County students about a bunch of stuff. But we did talk about phones and how they're used sometimes with bullying. We had them fill out this quick survey before our conversation. It was interesting because the majority of those kids said that phones and bullying were right at the top of their concerns when it comes to school safety. Here's part of that conversation.
What we hear from the politicians and from the top staff at the schools is that the social media policy that they've put in place, restricting access to your phones during class and that sort of thing, that it has been working, that it has made students more focused in class, that perhaps it has helped with the bullying as well. Would you agree with that?
But I remember a lot of people were really mad when it got first introduced, because when am I gonna text my parents, or how am I gonna how am I gonna have contact with the outside world? But I think it's really nice because they just put it up in the start of each class period, but you can still use it at lunch or if you're transitioning between classes.
I think it's working. I wouldn't say directly helping with bullying by any means, but I mean, I definitely think there's that. My brother is in middle school right now, and there was no phone policy when I was in middle school at the same school, and he's not on his phone at all during the school day, which I think, sure, I probably would have hated it, but I think it's good for students now, and our school has a similar policy, but I wouldn't directly attribute it to helping with bullying necessarily.
Well, let's talk about bullying. Is that something you're seeing in schools?
Bullying has so many assets now, and when you watch older movies that are based in high school and you see the classic bully, give me your lunch money, that type of thing, I feel like that's what everyone imagines it as, but bullying happens in so many different ways, especially with social media now. And obviously, we've all sat through, I'm sure, cyberbullying seminars and learning about all of that, but I think it just still happens, and it happens so often.
I want to add on to what Paige said. I feel like what a lot of adults and what a lot of teachers perceive as bullying is this classic high school bullying where you say a bunch of mean things to their face and they get hurt, but it's honestly not like that. It's a lot of I feel surface, below the surface kind of thing, where it could be some really snarky comments that somebody said, but it's kind of brushed off because oh, that was just really funny or something. It's a lot of under the surface kind of thing. It's not what everyone's perception of bullying is.
So if as a parent, if I'm trying to see under that next layer where it's kind of happening in silence, what do I look for? Where do you see and recognize bullying if it's so subtle?
You can talk to their friends, or talk to their friends. People our age are able to tell what's going on probably a lot quicker because they have the same emotions.
I would honestly say a lot of parents just need to be a bit more realistic. Most 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds, high school students, middle school students, they don't want to find themselves. They don't want to have a big come to earth, this is who I am, I'm going to stand in that. That's not what a teenager or a preteen wants. They want to fit in. They want to be cool.
Protecting your kids only goes so far because at this age, you're going to explore a lot of things on your own. You're going to want to be curious about a lot of things. So just allowing them to do some things, but still talking to them about it, being hey, you can wear this, she said, you can wear this, but let's talk about why you want to do this. Those kind of conversations, it's a lot more helpful and it's a lot more healthy too.
We talked about a lot of things with those young people: school safety, the tools that they use to keep buildings secure. We talked about vaping, that's a big thing in schools now, and a whole lot more. Our full conversation with those kids is over on the WRAL YouTube page if you want to take a look, as we are here in the first week in the new school year. We do want to hear from you as well, the parents, the people sitting at home watching this. Email us at indepth@wral.com. What do you think about the role of phones and social media when it comes to our young people, or really any of us, honestly? Sometimes I have a hard time putting the phone down. What about school safety also and security? Anything you want to talk about with that with back to school? Tell us what is on your mind. And if you watch us here at 7 o'clock, we will go in depth. Some